Sort of nice.
Be nice if there was fish.
Nice, sir.
You ought to drag your kayak up and just bomb it.
I would. I just don't have the right footwear.
Forgot your gloves?
That string of docks, there's some big fish caught up and down through there.
Hold on a second, Clint. Hey, I got a fish right here. There he is. Oh.
Holy cow.
Holy cow, look at that monster. I got myself one of them Coosa River spot that's ginormous right there. I don't even know if I could dink drop this one, he might break. So I'm gonna just gently lower him back in the water. All right, Clint, I'm back. Sorry, House. I ain't caught a fish all day, and of course, as soon as I get on the phone,
I brought you some good luck.
You know where? Yeah, exactly. Well, now you can't get off of here. So you're saying go under the bridge, and then go down the river, and there's an island?
No, don't go down there. Just follow the creek channel towards the river, and start looking on your left.
Okay.
You'll see a big island out there.
So you said okay. So but it's still good little ways, quarter mile or more.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. He actually sent me the drop pin and the mock-up of the map where the spots. It is up past that point.
Oh, it is.
But it looks ridiculous. So even if we just busted up there and got 30 minutes of good fishing and caught 2 or 3 fish, it'd be better than wasting time in a place where they're not, you know.
Don't tell me it's behind that cell tower. Just on the other side of that cell tower. Not far up past that.
Yeah, pretty close to that. Pretty
sweet shirt. You want to touch it?
will do.
Oh, this is pretty soft too.
Yeah, but that's like a V-neck.
Let's just.
It's like a semi-V. I mean, seriously, is that like a semi-V? Does it even have a collar? It looks like you cut the collar off.
I know, it's weird, eh?
Is that tape?
Stop it from
Does it
unraveling.
get caught in your chest?
Ah!
All right, guys, so look, we got out on the water this morning, and I'll just be straight up with you. This guy's a world champion whitewater kayaker. So if we're gonna fish the Coosa River together, I try to get him close to some whitewater. So we had a beautiful morning paddling up next to the Yellow Creek waterfall, but it was kind of too late by the time I figured out that the fish were probably out here on some of these islands and points. After giving a buddy of mine, Clint Henderson, who fished this lake quite a bit, he's like, yeah, you're completely in the wrong area. You've got to go out further. There's fish or post spawn, and they're going to be out on the point. So anyway, we ran out of time because this guy's got to get to the airport. We just finished up shooting the Gunnersville episode, and now he's taking off.
I finished shooting.
Now he's taking off. I'm in the shooting process. Now he's taking off and going to back to Canada, and we're going to fly down another Canadian, the real camera guy, this weekend, so we can knock it out of the park with the FLW episode on Nickajack. So one of the things that we've kind of committed to start doing is doing more of this vlogging. And hold on a second. Let me see if this is.
And more hugs.
Hey, Tammy. Pretty good. I am right in the middle of shooting a closing for a segment. Can I call you back in like 10 minutes? All right, I'll do that. Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Little does Cammy know you were literally
in the middle. She'll know when she sees this. That was Tammy. She's the director of North Alabama Mountain Lakes, wanting to talk about doing more stuff. So one of the things that we're going to start doing more of, and I've committed that I'm going to start doing, is I drive from one place to another place, and I don't fish all of these phenomenal fisheries in between. So, you know, the Coosa River is world famous for kayak fishing. It's world famous for fishing in general. And so we're on the Weiss Lake, part of it's the Coosa River. And so that's between Gunnersville and Nickajack. If you go like this, which it's on the way, right? It's on the way. So we decided to stay here and fish. He only had the morning. And,
which is more than I normally get.
Right, it's more. It normally doesn't even get a chance to get out from behind the camera.
I get to go to some of the coolest places in the world with this guy to fish, and I hardly ever get to
But
fish.
when he does get a chance to fish, unlike today, he normally capitalizes on it. For example, most guys have never broken the 10-pound mark, like ever. Like it's a life goal. This dude has been like, let me cast over there. He caught at least 2. Is there more than 2?
No, 2.
So he caught 1 at Ray Scott's Trophy Bass Retreats, and then he caught 1 at Long Branch Lakes. But let me just tell you this. It's not like it's shooting fish in a barrel, because myself and the guest had fished all day. I ended up with like this ridiculous headache. Went back to the room and laid down for an hour, and when I came back out, he was grinning ear to ear, and CJ Espy, the guy that joined us, had like, dude, Ken just paddles out, he makes like maybe 5 casts, and he's got a 10-pounder. Ken was like, it was probably more like 10 casts, and he caught this giant fish. We'll cut to that now. And just ridiculous. I mean, this thing was a hog, and honestly, if it had been pre-spawn, that fish would have probably been 13.
We can't cut to that one because
13 pounds.
We didn't get a video because I wasn't videoing.
We can cut to the picture. This is YouTube.
We got a
You
picture.
just
We got a picture.
You know, and then we also were out filming all day on Long Branch Lakes. The weather was ridiculous. I know Ron Champion was there. Terry Russell was there. Craig Dye, you guys know those guys. Everybody was fishing hard all day long. And we got to the end of the day and realized we're not getting an episode out of this. The fishing sucked. We haven't gotten enough content. And Ken's like, hand me a rod. And he's like, hey, where's that spot at? And I was like, it's right over there. Literally throws a Cinco out in 23 foot of water, no depth finder, the only rod that he's picked up all day, second or third cast, 9, in fairness, 9 pounds, 15 ounces and some change. We're calling it 10. It was a big one. We'll cut to that one right now.
And for the record, I didn't actually weigh it. You did. I still think you shortchanged me.
No, we did it. We've got the video of that somewhere. Anyway, we'll just call it 10 pounds. 9 pounds, 15 ounces. We're rounding up to 10, like it's half an ounce. So that was pretty crazy. But then we go a lot of places where Scott never gets to fish. So again, trying to get better at the content that we're creating. We're also forcing ourselves to like, just do this, just have fun more. Like take a morning and build it into the schedule where we're gonna just fish. Yes, that's what we did. So anyway, did you catch anything? Son. Well, you're taking that back to Canada. You can take that back to Canada with you.
Exactly.
So I caught 2. I caught a tiny little spot back over there by the falls, and then out around one of the docks out there.
Oh, you got another one. I got a bite. That's that's
small victories.
Yeah.
We'll call it a win. Now I got another tiny one back out there. Not as tiny as that tiny one, but a little bit bigger tiny one out there around one of those. The island had that long point coming out, and there's a dock right there. I just paddled up and like skipped the Cinco up under the dock and actually set the rod down because Scott called me, answered the phone, was sticking it in my PFD, and then the line was just moving off. So yeah, tough day. So what we're gonna do is he's getting out of here, heading back to the airport. We're gonna load up our gear and we're gonna head to another part up the Coosa a bit and see if we can't get on some of these magnum spots that this place is known for. But no matter how we slice it, we're showing you the content, we're showing you the exploration. We came here because it was pretty. Hopefully the next place I'll go because it's fishy, but even if we don't, we're bringing you the process. Whether we catch them or don't catch them, it's part of it. You got to put in the time, you got to put in the research, you got to put in the work, and then sometimes you knock it out the park, and sometimes you watch it to the mitt, and then other times you whiff. And we kind of watched it to the mitt this morning because we just came here really for the waterfall.
It's a nice waterfall.
It's a nice waterfall.
It's romantic.
Yeah. I looked over at him in the mist a couple of times and thought, wow. I'm so glad he gets to fish with me.
We have that moment.
Anyway, all right, guys, off to the next segment, off to Canada. Good seeing you again, brother. Thank you much. Let me guys ask you a question. Should men wear these real quick before he leaves? Should men wear these half V?
He just wants to touch me right now.
Like half V, slight V shirts? Comment in the comment section below. Anyway, we'll see you on the next segment. All right, guys, so we just headed back to the lodge, do a little refresh, reset, and I also forgot my ID this morning. So now we're headed out to go to Big Oak Campground. Ooh, here's Walmart. Actually need to run into Walmart and see if I can find a case for my phone because somehow or another I left my case somewhere, maybe in the room back in Gunnersville, or who knows. I can't find it. And I can't afford to drop my phone in the water again or ruin a phone while I'm on this trip. Got a big event coming up this weekend, and Christy's in Africa. be probably the most inopportune time ever for me to drop a phone, and knowing my luck, that's exactly what will happen. So we're gonna run in here to the Walmart and see if we can't find a phone case for my Pihone. Maybe Walmart will have it. So far, 3 Verizon stores haven't had it, and they got everything else at the Walmart. You know what I mean? Let's go check out the Walmart in Center, Alabama. All right, so one of the girls, I think it was my daughter Casey, thought she was pranking me and changed out my CD in my truck, which was a bluegrass CD, so that when I'm in an area where I don't have my phone hooked up, or if I can't get Sirius to work, then I rock some, good old country. Nothing like old Brooks and Dunn's greatest hits right there. So Taylor, sorry, you're getting replaced with some Brooks and Dunn's greatest hits. How are you today?
Okay, I'm good.
Well, that was a successful, no drama trip to the Walmart. And now we're gonna go get some of this water on ice. And I really am not a big fan of bottled water. I'm gonna start making a concerted effort to eliminate bottled water from my life. So you guys do me a favor, comment in the comment section below, like, what's your solution for, having or getting enough water without using bottled water. I'm really seriously want to eliminate that from my life. A lot of trash, let's start a dialogue on how to get rid of bottled water from our world. So anyway, we're gonna load this thing up. We're gonna go do a little scouting. I'm gonna show y'all exactly why the kayak fishing community is so awesome as soon as we hop in the truck. All right, time to head to the water. But first things first. Let's get this AC cranked up. Let's get this CD situation rectified. Because I mean, it needs to be rectified. Apparently, some people love them. Some Tay-Tay, some Taylor Swift, but it ain't this guy. Yeah, buddy. God, I mean, can I even put a Taylor Swift CD into a Brooks and Dunn case? Lord, I apologize. Go ahead and pre-apologize to the world out there for that. But yeah, anyway. All right, so let me show you why the kayak fishing community is so freaking awesome. I reached out to a good buddy of mine that lives near here in Georgia, and I said, hey man, I need to get dialed in on Weiss or Wise, depending on who you talk to, right? If you're around here, if you're from around here, it's like Wise. If you're from anywhere else, it's like Weiss. So I'll just default to the way the people who live here should decide how it's said. So Lake Wise, all right, so we're on Lake Wise, and he just sends me a couple spots and says, try these spots. I'm not going to dial too close in on them and get somebody else's spots up, but he just sends me a couple of basically I said, hey, I'm looking to go to this area, and I sent him a drop pin, and he said, and I put thoughts, and then he responded back with, yes, fish this, this, and this, boom, boom, boom. And that's exactly why fishing is so awesome, but it's really exactly why kayak fishing is so awesome. The community's unbelievable. And yeah, he said I might have to resort to a Ned rig. He said it may take it. The lunar table is terrible, and he ain't lying. So we are fishing off peak. But one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to scouting, right, and looking for places to fish, is take the times when you've got bluebird skies, you've got like a high pressure system, and you've got poor feeding times to go out and scout. If nothing else, you lay eyes on the water, you paddle your spots, you graph them, you get to correlate what it looks like on a graph to what is there in reality. And like this morning, I scouted, I paddled, I caught 2 fish, both of them like micro dinks, but I ended up marking a few waypoints. I ended up you know, confirming what I thought about a couple places and completely dispelling what I thought about another couple places. So all of that is cumulative towards your net, you know, ability to be successful. So we're gonna head over to this Big Oak campground, and we're gonna fish that general area. I've got a new depth finder setup configuration. I've always got a guest with me that doesn't have a depth finder, or we're traveling and we don't have the ability to have one. In addition to that, I really want to have a depth finder for stand-up paddleboard fishing, because I'm about to start doing a lot more of that. So we researched it, and then I ended up picking up one of these deeper sonar castable depth finders, but it's also got an arm that you can attach it to the kayak. So I'm going to mess around with that today. I'm really not going to get too in-depth with it in this video. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like, show you the setup, but then I'm going to get out there and just play with it and not act like I'm an expert, get really dialed in on it, and then I'll bring you guys kind of a run through in an upcoming video of the whole system, my initial impressions, my impressions after I got to know it a little better, kind of the whole concept, right? Does that make sense? So gonna get out there and play around with this deeper depth finder. We're gonna scout the spot, we're gonna get hydrated, we're gonna grab some lunch first, and then head to Big Oak campground and see if we can't find some spot, because I got some magnum spot on this lake. So anyway, here we go. So what I'm trying to do is find a drop hitch, and you know, B&W is the leader in making those adjustable hitches, and I've done with hitches what I've said I would never do with kayaks and paddles, and or what you shouldn't do, which is buy your way up. So I've got a 2-inch drop, a 3-inch drop, a 3 1/4 inch drop, then a 5 1/4 inch drop, and now I even need more drop. If I'd have just bought the dang adjustable hitch from the beginning, would have paid less money, and I would have the hitch that I need, and I wouldn't have to change it out each time I change trailers with different leveling heights. And so I didn't think it was going to be a big deal on this trailer, but like if you want to pull over and go to sleep, it's kind of tough to sleep in it angled up. So then you got to disconnect it to level it, and then also when you're loading and unloading the kayaks, it's problematic to not have it level because the kayak wants to slide off. So I'm gonna see if I can't find one of these like leveling hitches like this where there's an adjustable height, and there's a bunch of different models, so I'd like to go to a store and look at them so I can figure out which one I need. This one right here is pretty cool. It's called the drop hitch ball. It looks pretty substantial and like it's got a lot more adjustment to it than the others, so I'm gonna see if these guys have it in stock so I can go over there and check it out. But I like that look. I think it's slick, and I think it's probably going to have more adjustability. Yeah, so it's a total 10-inch trailer drop, so that would be perfect to get everything that I need. Now it's just a matter of whether or not they have one in stock. All right, so for this Weiss Lake trip, we're staying in the center, which basically puts us in the center of the lake so we can kind of go in every direction. This time of year, one of the things you got to keep in mind is that the bass are coming off the spawn. I've been checking water temperatures, and the one thing that I do know is that they're definitely high enough water temperatures that most of the bass have probably already spawned, so they're post-spawn. But generally what happens is, you know, your north and your west, you know, furthest reaches are the first place that the bass are going to spawn, and then they're going to work their way out and move back into mid-lake as the summer pattern starts to set up. So we're starting here. We're at Big Oak Campground, and we're up at this part of the lake because this is the first deep water when they come out of the spawning flats. From there, if we can't find the fish, we'll move down and work our way against this northwest bank, which has got some good spawning potential on it. Again, I'm not really familiar with this lake, so we're going to start here, work this. If neither of those seem to produce, one of the things that I can always do is get in the Coosa and find some bass. The Coosa River is basically the river system that makes up the lake here. And yeah, so we're going to give it today, and then in the morning for the big water bite, looking for those fish in those ditches and grooves and underwater offshore humps. Maybe some long underwater submerged points. If that doesn't work out, we're probably gonna safety up and go to the river and have some fun. Okay.
But I've been seeing them down there every morning.
And they've been catching them good?
Yeah.
You think they catch them up in the middle of the day like this?
I don't know.
All right,
but
cool.
I know
All right.
they've been fishing down there every morning before I leave.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
All right, y'all come back.
Thank you. You gotta pay the piper when you get that kind of intel. So I've obviously got a lot of Cincos with me, but cut-tail worms work really great on these lakes. They work really great for offshore fishing. They work really great for spot. And then I kind of decided to mess up, you know, balance it out a little bit and try the old U-Vibe speed worm. I like the speed worm. I like this June bug color, this part of the country, this time of year. But I also am a big fan, like a very big fan of this. So I'm gonna start with this. I'm gonna have this as a backup and as a just in case lure if I need to create a little thump. But that ought to do it right there. So one of the cool things about this camper is places like this. Now, we're obviously just staying at Weiss Lake Lodge for this trip, but in a lot of cases, I want to be able to fish an area very thoroughly. So rather than having to load and unload, you rent a campground spot, you back in, you paddle out, you fish, you paddle back, and you're basically home. And so for me, what's cool about this trailer is it's like waterfront property, no matter where I go. Really cheap and mobile, easy to get to the places where the fish are and stay there. And so, especially if it's just me, or if I'm meeting a friend, and you know, I don't need to carry a whole bunch of stuff. I throw one kayak on top, throw my gear inside, throw a hammock in there for chilling out in the middle of the day, or you know, sleeping outside if I want to. The new tent extent, man, I just got to tell you, I'm super stoked about the opportunities. But also what I'm super stoked about is if you'll turn around and look over here, these little things sticking up out of the water, those are crappie brush. Basically, growing up, I did the same thing. You stick stakes in the ground and you attach bundles of brush, cane, and other things to them. But you know what eats crappie? Bass and striper. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go out here and work this grass flat to start with. And then on the back side of this island, there's a cut through in there that's got a nice drop off on it with a little deeper trench. Then when we're done with that, we're going to work our way out, and I'll actually cut to the screenshots of Navionics right now so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. We're going to paddle across the main river channel. If we don't find them here, we're going to paddle across the main river channel and find a back cut that runs down the bank over there, and there should be post-spawn fish stacked up in that, you know, kind of following these shad that haven't started to spawn yet, and these big wads. So got a pretty good selection of baits to get out there and get creative. I think we're going to find them, but the great thing about the exploration is you never know until you go. And so to me, the cat and mouse part of it, the research, the exploration, the checking new spots, all of that stuff is as fundamentally a part of it is when you finally found them and you set the hook. And to me, it makes it that much more gratifying when you do the work, you do the labor, you put in the time, you have 3 or 4 unsuccessful mornings or segments of a trip, and then you find the fish. So the payoff is that much more rewarding, I think is the word. But yeah, we're about to go do it. All right, let's do this.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go. Yeah, I was building on a lecture.
What are you doing? This is totally inappropriate theme music for the setting that I'm in. Pick something better. How's it going, man? Chad Hoover.
Hey, Twilly, how you doing?
So Eddie walked up and started sharing some advice with Matt, filming this whole thing. Matt, I was on the phone and loading stuff up, so Matt's like, you should probably get out here. This guy's got a wealth of knowledge. Well, here's what I did today. Nothing. I didn't catch crap out here this evening. So
You fish those weed beds all evening?
no, I fished. You go around the corner, you go down that long creek.
Okay.
Right before that first dock, there's that drop off right there. I really focused on that drop off, thinking the bait was going to be on that grass line,
Well,
but there wasn't anything there.
those fish up in that area there, they're real ticky in that clear water. When you catch them in there, it's when it rains.
Okay.
When the thing comes down a little dingy.
What about at night? You ever night fish in that clear water?
I fished it at night most of the time in July and
When it's hotter?
August, when the hot weather. But I catch them right out on the edge of the channels then. When they use a black spinnerbait
Yeah.
with a red Colorado blade on it. And I catch a lot of fish like that.
Yeah, me too. I like it like that. So where are they at right now?
They're on those drops, right, about 7 to 9 foot.
So
Right
I found
along- right off
some.
the edge of that
I
river
found
trail.
some that I was going to check, like on Navionics, but I had that drop off back there. And really, to be honest with you, I saw that creek that goes to the right on Navionics, and I thought, oh man, if I can get back in there, because I'm in a kayak. But it was so hot, the water was so hot back in there, and there was no movement.
Yeah,
And it was water had blown a bunch of silt up in there.
that's called Wolf Creek back in there.
Yeah, so
you go by the rocks up there.
Yeah.
by the cave
And then
bottom.
I didn't plan on going that far, but then you see them pretty rocks and you just
Yeah,
keep going and keep going. And I spent more time than I planned, but I planned on going right out here to the main channel, and there's a little L-shaped island out there. And on the back side of that L-shaped island, there looks like there's a trough with a hump on one side, and it looks like on the hotspots map that there's quite a few brush piles around there and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to focus on tomorrow.
A lot of people put those brush piles out for crappie.
Right.
Around here, it's called the crappie capital of the world.
Okay.
But you'll see when you go out here tomorrow, right around, and there'll be a house right over there. There'll be a green marker right on the edge of that buoy. You'll see the point where it comes out there. Right. We used to fish just right where they built the house at. But just right to the right of it, if you're going out, that's where the fish are now.
Really?
Right along the edge of that channel.
Spot.
So you ought to be able to catch them there.
Okay. What about the striper? What's up with the striper in this lake now? We ran into an old boy back here that said, he hardly catches them anymore. I came here because I used to fish back in there, and is it Little River? Yeah, I used to fish Little River and murder them way before I started doing TV and all that kind of stuff. And
A lot of bass fishermen has caught them and not turned them back in,
okay,
carried them out. And they're not supposed to be reproducing, but we catch a lot of them in here, pound, a pound and a half.
so they're reproducing.
But whenever you get up here on this, where you was at, when it comes rains and gets that thing dingy, that's when you catch a striper now.
Where are they at now? Out in the main river channel? Yeah.
I don't ever fish for those things.
All right. Well, they're fun on top water.
Yeah, well, I ain't never seen them bust on top.
Oh my God, they used to boil the water back there like popcorn.
Yeah, back
It's been
8 or 10 years ago.
It's been 11 years since I fished
Yeah.
here last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now back then they'd stock some and they just got pretty well grown up, pretty well the size.
So let me ask you a question. Is it Weiss or Weiss?
Weiss.
See, it's tomato around here. Like I done been to 3 places, and one place it's Weiss, another place it's Weiss, another place, and I've always called it Weiss. But there's a place I'm staying at, or right next to it. We stopped at this little convenience store, and the lady said, "Where are you fishing?" I said, "Out here on the lake." She said, "Weiss?" I was like, "Weiss?" She said, "Yeah, Lake Weiss." I said, "I thought it was Weiss." She said, "No, there's a lot of people around here say that. It's Weiss." I was like,
Well,
all right then.
They call it everything.
So
And I think
you're in the Weiss camp.
I'm in the Weiss camp.
All right, perfect, cool. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today. Tough day. Caught 2 fish in 2 locations, and both of them were dinks. Came to a spot that I knew would be gangbusters for a striper, and it turns out that the striper have declined in this part of the lake. And I kind of went down with the ship with that pattern. Was going to go out and try to fish some brush piles around some docks out on these islands closer to the main river channel. That was part of my game plan, but I went down with the ship waiting on the striper to show up and waiting on the fish to move in back there in that channel in the Little River area, but it didn't pan out. And so tomorrow I'm going to come back here. Found a couple grass beds over here just out of the landing, and feel pretty comfortable. Feel pretty confident that the fish will be there in the morning. And then what we'll do is, before the sun gets really up, we'll move out and we'll fish that deeper water and see if we can't find those schools of Magnum spot. It's post spawn. Generally, when that happens, those fish stack up on those outer brush piles, those humps, and Cliff Henderson, don't put that in there, and Clint Henderson on those outer points. And Clint Henderson, a good buddy of mine, shared with me a location that I wasn't familiar with that has a really cool flat that's a little deeper loaded with stumps, and so maybe they've moved into there to stage and feed up after the spawn. So anyway, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Wasn't a lot going on today, and honestly, it was kind of a recharge day to get out on the water, relax, spend some time with Ken fishing, hang out with Matt back here, and have some laughs and take our time. And it was hot in the middle of the day, so we were in no big rush to get back out there. But we're gonna get up early, do it again in the morning, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks. Do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and you know the rest. We'll see you next time.